In the heart of Manitoba, music isn't just a sound, it's a lifeline. Behind the Music takes you on a journey through the lives of local artists, revealing the raw passion that fuels their creativity. From the cramped basements where they hone their craft, to the electrifying moments on stage, we explore their inspirations and the struggles they face along the way. Each story is unique, yet they all share a common thread, the relentless pursuit of their dreams. Discover how these artists channel their experiences into powerful melodies and witness the transformative power of music as it connects us all. Join us as we celebrate the voices that shape our community and inspire us to keep pushing forward.
Okay, perfect. So kind of how we did you get a chance to talk to Joel, kind of how this all works? No? Oh, I'm surprised. He was so like ecstatic to be on the other end of the questions. So essentially what it was is go around and kind of explain who you are and kind of what your involvement in the industry is. And kind of if you play with different bands, stuff like that. And then we kind of move into what inspired each of you to do what it is you do.
Cool.
Dave, you want to go first? And sorry,
Okay.
I'll throw you under the bus.
All right. So say that again. So my involvement in the industry and what inspired me to do what I do.
Yeah. So basically, like your name, where you're kind of what your background is, what inspired you to get into music to begin with.
Okay. Well, my name is Dave McDougall. I've played in a few bands in the city, starting in my mid-20s. What inspired me to start with music is just family, right? I like my dad was somewhat of a musician in his day. My oldest brother got into music when I was 8, 9. When I started getting into my early teens, I started picking up the guitar. Went to his local shows and stuff like that, and a few of my buddies that I grew up with, we all kind of just picked up instruments and started a little garage band, and the rest is history.
Sweet. Well, I'm Mike Sodoma. I play guitar in Pure Entry, and I guess my involvement in the industry kind of started out a little bit differently. Like I actually started doing I'm a photographer actually as a job, and I used to kind of when I got started, I was shooting a lot of local bands and a lot of touring acts and stuff like that. And I always played guitar. Like I started playing guitar when I was like 9 years old, and just never really I guess instead of trying to get into a band, I was like trying to photograph bands, right? And then I guess what was that, around COVID or a little bit before that, I was like, man, I'd kind of like start playing in bands, try some stuff out, and got into a band called Moonfield and started playing with them for a couple of years. And then kind of along the way, Dave, I got a mutual jam space that we jam at here and there. We end up meeting, and I really liked the music he was doing, and when we would jam together, it sounded really good, and finally made it happen.
Nice.
So.
I'm Eric Eastfeld. I play bass for Pure Entry. I've been with them since June, so over 6 months, about 8 months now, and I got into music pretty young. I picked up the guitar for the first time when I was like 10. Picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down quite a few times through my teens. Music's always been around me growing up. My mom was a music teacher. She's a trained vocalist, and so my family is very music oriented. So it was never really a question. I just one of those things that was bound to happen. Started playing guitar in my teens and in high school. Then just started playing bass just a few years ago. I picked up an electric bass to start my band Leadwin with my guys from back home, and so that's how the bass thing kind of took off for me. Now all I'm doing is playing bass and barely picking up a guitar.
Nice. So do you guys have any inspirations that kind of inspire your genre of music?
Like kind of the way we play our instruments, you mean? Or
Well, I mean, in the sense of like, for guys like me, like guitarists like me, I look at, like Jimi Hendrix and Carlos Santana, Mick Mars, guys like that. Do you have artist inspirations from your youth that kind of led you down the path to your chosen genre?
Well, for me, growing up, I listened to a lot of everything. Like, obviously, 90s kid, so big into the grunge. It started with, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Alice in Chains. Then I for a while, I got really, really into The Offspring. And when we started Pure, like my early bands definitely mirrored those kind of inspirations, more grunge, rock heavy. With Pure Entry starting it, I wanted to do something a little different. And I've always loved Queens of the Stone Age, but got put onto this newer band called Highly Suspect. And they're definitely a huge inspiration behind this project. Kind of adding more of a groovy kind of almost with a little bit of a hip hop element in there. And yeah, I mean, so the genre and the inspiration span across many different genres, but I definitely wanted to do something different out of just like the regular kind of old school rock and roll grunge thing, but it's definitely still in there. Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I guess for me personally, like I was always been a big Red Hot Chili Peppers fan as a as a kid, and so I think a lot of John Frusciante's playing, I not like modeled it after, but he's definitely a big inspiration for like how I play, and same as Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin too. They were kind of like my first kind of guitar band that I really liked when I was a kid, and I feel like that's kind of how I play a lot of leads, is kind of in those two, kind of similar styles to that. But also love like bands like Deftones as well, and even City and Color and stuff like that. Like I chose a lot of different kind of varieties of inspirations, and yeah, it kind of melts into one thing that I think I kind of showcase in the band pretty decent. So.
Yeah. Personally, with these questions, I always find them hard to answer. Growing up listening to music, I was all over the place. Like I listened to everything and anything, and like every year I got older, my favorite genre would change or something like that, right? I find that since I've only been playing bass for a few years, I've only been gigging as a bass player. I find that my bass playing is more inspired by the bands that I've been playing with than any kind of music that I listen to, just because that's kind of how I evolved as a bass player, was just jumping right into it and playing it. So, growing up, I also loved the 90s rock, loved a lot of the 2000s stuff, like Dave said, like Queens, like Foo Fighters. I also love Highly Suspect now as well.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know about them before I joined the band. But yeah, so I'd say my bass playing is inspired by my bands, by Pure Entry and by my other guys, Ledwin. Like, just because of how I got thrown into it.
Kind of just go by the feel of everything going on in the room, and
yeah, like just like with Ledwin, our singer Zen, he's super into the 90s, into the grunge, so that's the kind of stuff that I learned to play with them. And with these guys, we've got a little bit of a different element, very, very original vibe with Pure Entry here. And so I follow along with the guys and just go from there. So I'd say I'm more inspired by the guys I play around than by anyone that I listen to.
Well, and that's kind of a big pat on the back for the bands you're in, right?
Oh, I know. Hey, try not to compliment them too hard here.
I don't know. I think I see
Great
Dave.
answer, though.
I'll take it. I don't know. Take it where you can get
it. So this might be more towards Dave, because I think the last time I seen you guys at that Burgers for a Mess, you had different members, like Mike and Eric weren't in it, I don't think, at that particular point. So what kind of brought on naming your band Pure Entry?
Oh, that's that was totally a thing that I had a few years before the band formed. It started as like a little catchphrase that I kind of coined. I was hanging out with another buddy of mine that we used to jam with, and I think I heard a song on the radio that day, and it was not Phil Collins, it was Genesis. I Can't Dance. Do you know the song?
Okay. Yeah.
Amazing song. I hadn't heard it in years. I knew I had heard it when it came on, and I was like, fuck, I think I like Shazammed it on my phone to see what it was. I was like, oh shit, this is Genesis. Cool. And then I had a buddy over later, and we were jamming. I was like, man, I heard this Genesis song on the radio, and dude, like, we should learn how to play this. We're kind of talking about it. I was like, man, like, that song is like a vibe on its own. That song is pure entry, and it kind of just rolled off my tongue. And he's like, what did you just call it? I'm like, it's pure entry. Like we use that as like saying like something is awesome or badass. So like, the next few years, me and a couple of my buddies would always say things were pure entry if they were like cool or badass or whatever. And so when I got together with Alex and we started kicking around band names, I threw that one out there and it just stuck.
Nice. No, it's got a good story behind it, eh? And kind of that camaraderie that creates it.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So for like did you find it hard to kind of adapt with the newer members? Because, well, just different play styles and stuff, right? So did you go through a drastic change in taking the two members from what you guys kind of were before?
Honestly, not really. It kind of rolled pretty organically. It wasn't much of like a shift or anything. We were still playing, a lot of the same songs. Yeah, no, and I mean, Eric and Mike are just fantastic musicians, so they were able to follow along and get right in there. And yeah, it all felt really good right off the get-go.
Sweet. So do you guys still have some of that rap element to it?
I mean, I like to think we still have a bit of a hip hop vibe to it, but we don't have any of the rap. No, our past member Brian there, BS Raps, he he wrote all that. I didn't want to be saying someone else's words, really, right? So,
exactly. Yeah.
Some of the songs that had that in there, we kind of shifted to some solos and some instrumentation instead.
Nice. So for Eric and Mike, how was it jumping into pure entry with kind of an already established band and kind of just coming on board? And what was it like for you guys to kind of take on these new roles from them?
I'll hop on this one first, since I was the first one out of the two of us. For me, I found it not that hard, honestly. Like, it wasn't, they have all these pre-existing songs, but that wasn't really a problem. They had the EP out, so I listened to the EP quite a few times. Ended up on my year-end roundup for my Apple Music. One of my top listened to albums of the year, just from practicing alone. And so having the EP helped out. And then there was lots of other video that I could use for reference, and honestly didn't tried to keep the bass stuff like with the same ideas, similar riffs, but the guys gave me quite a lot of freedom to do what I want with them. So it wasn't too hard. It was still fairly similar as to writing the songs collectively versus just sliding in and playing someone else's bass lines one for one, which isn't what I'm doing. But still try to keep the soul of the song the same.
Oh, that's awesome that they gave you creative freedom to make it your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah, I guess my role is a little bit different than Eric's, right? Because he kind of had a bit of a baseline, like, so I kind of how Dave was kind of saying before, like, he only had really guitar parts only for one guitar, right? So I probably had the most creative out of the two. What's that, sorry?
I think it was just Dave the first time, wasn't it?
Totally. And then they just had
like a lot of the riffs I wrote never really had a second guitar in mind. So I told Mike, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what you would do on this, second guitar wise, but I believe in you, man.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, that first couple jams, like, I was just kind of jamming with them, and a lot of that stuff kind of stuck. Obviously cleaned it up a little bit and kind of rewrote a little bit of stuff, like, because I like to get a little leady, like doing the wheelies a little bit too much. So I kind of had to turn those into like doing some different chord shapes and stuff, and just kind of making sound a little fun, and add a little bit of effects to kind of fill in that extra space that kind of the rap and DJ element of the band had previously. But I don't know, I'd probably say I had a lot of creative freedom, and I'm still writing some stuff for it. So
Awesome.
I don't know if
No,
you play
here-
lead, Jeff, but it's kind of like it's always like a never-ending project. You know, it's like you think you have like your best riff you could ever write down, and then you're just like sitting on the couch one day, you're like, oh, that's so much better. Like, you know, like a year later, even.
So then this will be kind of a question for all of you guys. For people that don't understand what goes behind having a band, what is the most crucial thing
Hmm.
that you think matters most to maintaining your band's composure in difficult situations?
I think just going with the flow, man. Like honestly, like because anything can really happen, like either on stage or off stage. You know, you just kind of go with the flow. Like say, you know, you have a practice on Wednesday night or something, and one of us gets sick potentially, and so then we gotta move it.
Don't take yourself too serious, I think would
break,
be my advice. You know, we're all in this to have fun. For a lot of us, this is just a hobby, right? You know, don't take yourself too serious. Shit's gonna happen. You know, you're gonna have bad nights where you don't like your performance. You know, there's always gonna be the next one. So
yeah, it's just, you know, keep a cool head. No one needs to. There's nothing that is worth blowing up over in a band.
Yeah.
Like,
I totally agree.
in my opinion, unless someone is, you know, coming at you or something, I don't think there's anything worth, you know, screaming at each other about in a band setting specifically. You know, so cooler heads prevail. Be able to talk, communicate well.
Yeah, I mean, like as soon as it stops being fun, like what's the point, you know? Like,
Exactly.
keep
Oh,
the
that's
ego
good.
to a minimum.
yeah,
It's a job at that point, right?
yeah, exactly. And like I know we all have different job like careers, so it's like, you know, it's obviously we want to take it seriously enough to put on a good show and record some cool songs, but like that's kind of, you know, once it starts becoming more than that, it's, you know,
Yeah,
a little too serious. Yeah.
Absolutely. So with that, on the flip side of that, what do you guys think is your strongest core element in your band?
That we can hang.
That's true.
We can all hang.
Don't worry, that one kind of gets everybody too, is because everyone looks at something different that ties their band together and makes it so tight knit like they normally are, right? There's always different reasons to it.
Well, honestly, I think we're really good. We practice weekly, and we're really good with sticking to it for the most part. But on top of that, every practice is pretty consistently fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have a good time together. So
Yeah.
I think that makes everything roll really easy, and it helps productivity. I mean, we're having a lot of fun, but we're not having too much fun. We're still getting everything done, but having a good time doing it. So it makes everything just easier.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how fast like jams go by. Like, you know, like we usually meet up around like 7:30, and you know, you feel like you only play like 3 or 4 songs, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, it's like 10:30 already. You know,
Home at midnight.
yeah, literally.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie. Some days, like, you know, get off work on Wednesday, and I have like an hour to, you know, scrounge up something to eat and pack my gear and put everything in the car and hit the road. And you know, Dave and I carpool to practice and stuff. And so some days it just feels like a marathon doing that all. But then once we get to jam, it's just, you know, it's fun. It's fun.
You forget.
Yeah, exactly. Not so worried about the long day.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Pure Entry, like, what do you guys got coming up?
Who wants to take this one?
February 22nd, we are playing with Valley Narrow for their EP release. You're repping them. Valley Narrow. Then March 15th, we are in Brandon with Matt Corey and Ash and the Arsonists.
We do have something in April, but
we have an April. Yeah, I don't know if it's been announced yet, but we have a show in April. We also have a show in May at Side Stage, which has been announced.
I think that's May 3rd.
May 3rd, yeah.
May 3rd at Side Stage, yeah.
Yeah.
We have the Peg City Sound Off Festival in July.
July 12th.
We have something else that might be announced at some point soon. I don't know when it's going to be announced. Honestly,
I was going to ask if we can
Yeah.
announce
No, we'll wait on that one. But
that's why I just shut up.
to play.
Yeah, there's something really cool coming, and we can't wait to talk about it. But I guess we can't talk about it yet.
Yeah, no, Eric, shut up. It'll come in due time.
It's recording. Yeah. It's recording. I can't cut that out.
No, it's a festival gig. Other than the gigs, though, we are recording a new EP right now. We have that well on its way. We're vocal tracking right now. Still a little bit of lead guitar work to do after that, and then mixing and mastering and stuff like that. So that is well on its way.
Awesome. So any titles for the EP, anything like that you kind of come across yet?
We got a couple ideas.
Buddy, we got a good one for you.
We have a couple ideas we're kicking around. One of them is it's already been out there in maybe a post or something, so you'll have to take a guess on that. But we have a couple ideas, nothing solid yet. It's going to be a 6-track EP. But yeah, no, we're still kicking around the idea for a title.
And it's going to be available like pretty much all your dominant download stream platforms.
Yeah. Every streaming service we use. What is it? DistroKid. I think that puts it out everywhere.
Okay, nice.
Awesome service, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, DistroKid. I've heard a lot of good things about them. And what's the other one? Ditto? CD Baby. I've heard of them too. I know a lot of artists and stuff I've talked to. They use CD Baby's like duplication service or whatever for like their discs and their wraps and sleeves and stuff like that as well. So
nice.
Yeah. You guys have questions for me or any exciting anything that you want to let people know?
Questions. I don't know. What do you guys think? We talked about the EP. We're thinking about maybe doing a video for a single. We're hoping to have a single out from this EP, maybe within the next 2 months, I would say. The single, I'll just give a tease as well. It's I won't give away the track, but it is one that we've played at the last few shows. It's one that we've released little clips of and stuff like that. And it's one word. So.
Yeah, it's about a song about not having the bucks. Let's just say.
Well, hopefully they can.
That one rings true. It rings true these days.
Well, the Winnipeg scene is probably going to guess that. You know that, right?
Oh, I already know there's some people who know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, it probably is. Yeah.
Well, neither confirm nor deny.
How long have you been doing this podcast, Jeff?
This one, I actually just got the idea for it this year because Joel, when he was out here, we were sitting there talking. He's like, there's got to be a way that we can spread across Westman for musicians and and fans and stuff to understand. Like, there's a hell of a lot more that goes into what guys like us do than just seeing us on stage. There's a whole like almost full-time job in behind what they see on stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then I was sitting there and kind of reminiscing about it. And then I was just like, Behind the Music, there's a new series. Let's talk to some artists, get it out there. And people can actually talk to people all across Manitoba and hear these different bands, their process, their songwriting process, the amount of practicing that goes into it, the inspirations behind it. So I actually just birthed this like 4 months ago is when I started working on it.
I love the idea behind it. Yeah. Like you said, there's not, some people don't understand how much time and effort it takes behind a band. Even like, we say, we don't take ourselves so serious, but, we still once a week jam. We're always coming up with new music and stuff, even on our own, bringing it to our rehearsals. And then, having to juggle your regular job, your home life, and putting in the time to write, record, rehearse, play shows. It's time management, and I'm not good at it, but I try.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
With what Dave was saying there, I feel that I got this band, I got my other band, I got I work part-time and I'm a full-time student at the University of Manitoba. So I'm learning something right now about time management. But that being said, what I wanted to tack on to Dave there was I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm having the time of my life. It's so much fun.
Absolutely agreed.
What about you, Mike?
Sorry, what was the question? I kind of zoned out there.
Manage your time with your life and band and writing music and playing music and taking pictures of people playing music.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a mix. Like I work a couple different jobs, and self-employed as well as work another job like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and it can be tough to have find time in that. But kind of what Eric was saying before, you got to really know how to like manage your time, like have a schedule, have this and that. I also find in bands you have to wear a lot of hats. Like you have to be like a social media manager, you have to be like a songwriter, you have to be a performer, you have to like go and find gigs or venues to play at. It's a lot more work than I think a lot of people think. And I think your podcast, with this series is pretty neat, kind of little behind the scenes into a lot of things. So I think if people get a lot more appreciation for local acts that go up there and kind of give it their all,
Well, and that's the whole reason behind it, right? Like every guitarist has a story on the struggles and trials and tribulations, everything they went through and learning to play that guitar, from, like breaking strings and taking them to the face, or ripping your finger wide open.
Strings to Mike.
I'm like king string breaker, man. Like even those Ernie ball strings it's supposed to be unbreakable, I've broken them a lot.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't know what my deal is, but
he knows his way around an axe, but he plays it like a fucking gorilla.
Oh.
It's true, I do. But that's another thing that you kind of brought up before, like what you kind of have to know when you're in a band. You have to know how to rewrite a song on the fly when you break like 2 strings.
Oh, exactly, right? Like you really got to pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then also they don't realize how much effort that takes too. If that happens on stage, you got to try to keep your persona and who you are on stage, like your stage presence. You got to keep it the same, if not better than every other show you've done before, but while rewriting it, right? So you're kind of flipping multiple switches at once, trying to pull that off.
Well, our last show at the Tap House that happened, I think about 3 songs in, I broke my A string. I'm like, fuck, because that was like a very A string heavy song.
Yeah, an important one too. One's hard to get around, right?
Yeah. So it was one of those, like the A string broke and it was like underneath all of the other strings. So every note I'd play would just be fretted out. So I was like, shit. So kind of like,
by the end of the night, Mike was down 2 guitars at our last show.
Oh yeah, that's right. This happened too. I don't know how it happened, but the input jack somehow got punched in. I have no idea. It was fine like a couple days ago, and took it out, went to go plug it in to tune it up for the show, and didn't have the jack anymore.
You're supposed to, like, as Dave put it, you're supposed to gorilla the strings and not the input jack, right?
Exactly. If it doesn't work it harder.
I had my extra guitar. He played that, didn't break a single string, and gave it a new paint job by the end of the night.
Yeah, it was it's normally a satin gloss. Now it was a very glossy gloss.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, that thing was dripping with Mike sweat.
Yeah, well, I call it mojo.
Yeah.
Man, it was speaking of though, like Dave's guitar, it's like a Stratocaster body, but it has a backwards headstock. So every time I was tuning it, I was like, actually, yeah, it's like an upside down headstock.
Oh, and it's a golden too.
Yeah, it's like a weird kind of upside down headstock. So like, I'd think I'd be like tuning the high E, but I was actually tuning the low E. Like,
no,
I was like on stage, I was like, Dave, like, I don't know what's up with your guitar. It's not working. It's not tuning. And I was like, oh, right, upside down headstock, right?
Well, it looks like
headstock.
Well, you that looked like a Gretsch, eh?
Yeah, this one's a new one actually. Funny enough, I play my main guitar is a Gibson Les Paul, but I traded a guitar because I was looking for a semi-hollow for a while and found this one on Marketplace a little while ago. So funny enough, I actually was hoping to get this thing set up anyway. So now let's get a new input jack too.
There you go.
Yeah,
decorate it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe put some new pickups in it. It's all the toys.
Nice.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, being everyone else is showing their guitars, Eric.
Hold on. It's right here.
Mine are all out in the studio, so I can't get involved in this. But
Well, Eric's showing that.
Yeah, so I play a Charvel, a San Dumas. It's beautiful. So I know absolutely, or before I bought this, I knew absolutely nothing about shopping electric basses. I'd only ever shopped electric guitars before that, and so I just went into Long McQuaid and I played like 10 of them. And this one, it has it's a maple wood neck. It's beautiful. It also has a very skinny neck, and so it feels fast. It feels very comparable to I have a Stratocaster. It feels very comparable to that, in the feel of the neck, and I absolutely love that. So it's one of the best guitars, never mind basses, that I've played just based off of feel alone, and that's enough for me. That's the selling feature, is how it feels, not necessarily anything else about it, really.
Well, and they say that sometimes too, is like, you don't find the guitar finds you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of how I feel about this one. I went and tried it out, and I was like, I can't just buy it because I don't know what I'm doing. You know, maybe I'll like go do a little bit of research first before I spend a significant amount of money on a bass. And I went home and I was looking them up and whatever. And I think it was that night I decided, yeah, I'm going to call them and I'm going to buy it the next day. And so it was a pretty quick turnaround for me. But yeah, I absolutely love it. It feels great. It feels very similar to just a regular electric guitar, and it doesn't weigh that much more either. So I love it. It's my only electric bass right now, and it's not going anywhere. So.
Nice. Well, me personally, I play a Gretsch Streamliner with Bigsby pickups. That's why I was asking about Gretsch.
Oh yeah, cool.
And then I don't know if you've ever heard Joel bugging me about the King V. Every time he's here, he has to grab my Jackson off the wall.
Oh yeah.
He's absolutely in love with it because it's white with the gloss black outlining and black hardware.
Oh, nice.
And he just fell in love with it the first time he ever seen it. So that's pretty much what I play. And if we do anything acoustically, I have just a very simple Takamine.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, those King V's are sweet.
It's pretty cool. I don't like how low it sits, though. That's the only thing I've noticed. No matter the strap, it sits too low for how I play, because I like playing up tighter.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot of like manual bends and stuff, right? So, and I found with that King V, it sits way too low on me for me to be comfortable to play, because I'm not like not a gorilla strummer or anything, right? We'll put it that way. I'm not like that where I'm hammering away.
That's a good thing.
And it's I just found I didn't like where it sits. Other than that, yes, it's a very beautiful guitar. So if I'm sitting down with it, I love it. But the minute I stand up, and I'm one that likes to move, it just feels uncomfortable.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like those and like the Dean V's are just, I don't know, they're so classic.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, so cool.
So to kind of slip back into behind the music side, now that we kind of guitar nerded a bit, with that, walk us through kind of a songwriting structure. Like, how does it work for you guys from start to finish?
Well, typically Dave, honestly, a big part of it's kind of Dave's. He'll come up with some lyrics, or have like a chord progression or something like that, and then we just kind of naturally add a lot of elements to it until we kind of find something that fits a little bit. Like maybe Dave will kind of go over the chord progression a couple of times, and then we'll just kind of like start kind of filling in our place. And then sorry. The cat's Jin has been like trying to eat the screen this whole time, so that's why you see me kind of like moving her around. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, 9 times out of 10, I'm in my basement noodling around, coming up with riffs and shit like that. I'll record them on my phone just as voice notes and stuff if I like them. A lot of them hit the garbage can. Some of them don't. That being said, there's the odd time where I'll be out and about and something will just hit my head, a phrase or some lyrics or something like that, and I'll throw that down in my notes on my phone, and then maybe build a song around that. But it usually starts with a riff and a chord progression or something like that, and then I start writing to that. But I mean, I have a backlog of lyrics and phrases and shit like that I'll I come up with a new riff that I really like, I'll look through what I have and see if, there's something that is maybe fitting that vibe. Or, sometimes it just immediately starts flowing and the lyrics and the riffage are all coming. And yeah, I mean, we've even had that happen in the jam space where one jam and we've got a brand new song from start to finish, just everything just starts clicking. And then there's shit that I've been working on for 5 years and still don't know what the fuck to do with it.
I think everybody's got one of those.
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
And they always come up to you, like they always kind of come to you at the weirdest times too. Like you'll be shopping for groceries or like, taking a shower or whatever, in some kind of awkward situation. You're just like I don't know, like half the time it comes to me in mid conversation with somebody else that has nothing to do with music. And so I'll be like, in my head, I'll like be trying to listen to the conversation, but I'll be like, oh, this would be a cool chord progression or a cool riff. Can't wait till I'm at home. And then they're like, "Do you not hear anything I said?" And I was like,
Yes.
can you repeat that? Yeah.
Yes.
Especially driving for me, or I started going on walks and stuff like that, and just driving or walking around. Usually, some inspiration starts hitting for me, at least.
Yeah. Like I said, the most random times, right? And then half the time that's like your best stuff. And then the problem is you have to remember it like until you can get to a guitar or like something to record it with.
If it's hitting you mid conversation, now you're always going to associate that song with that person. That's awkward.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention the whole time, so that means nothing.
What about you, Eric?
I'm just a bass player. I don't write songs.
You do have to add to them.
Oh yeah. No, on like what they said, honestly, like lots of our writing is Dave bringing a riff or a riff and some lyrics or sometimes a full song to jam, and then we just go from there. And so I've done lots of like doubling riffs on the bass to give us our sound, especially when we were still operating as a trio. That was pretty big to keeping the sound going. So I do lots of doubling on riffs, and I've just been trying to get more and more adventurous with some of the things that I'm doing personally in the jam space. But yeah, I mean, just sitting around home, like I've done some just writing on my own, coming up with riffs and whatever, but nothing that I've deemed worthy to bring to a jam space yet. So that's somewhere where I can improve on them personally. But
we'll get you there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Remember, these guys are still way older than me.
A few more beers for him, Dave, and he'll start pouring them out.
A few more years, a few more beers.
A few more cheers.
So for being you guys are an established band and you're kind of up and coming now, like you guys are starting to be on more stages from what I'm seeing anyway, from the first time I seen you guys play till now, like you guys have come a long way in kind of where you stood on that structure. What advice would you have to musicians that are just starting out that you may have inspired at some point to pursue something in music? What advice would you give them?
I would say like don't be afraid of fucking up. Like don't be afraid to try things, and because I feel like that like honestly held me back as a musician for a really long time. Like I felt like I had to play every single note perfect, or like even at jams and stuff like that, I was like, oh, like I don't want to fall out of tune, or like maybe try and write something while the song's going on. And yeah, I'd just say just don't be afraid to mess up. Try your hardest and kind of play how you feel like you want to play and how you portray the song, because that always sounds better.
On a band level, I would say go to shows, make friends, be a good person, and just be a friendly and a familiar face, and that will go a long ways in helping you pick up gigs and find bands to play with, and just meet some cool people. I've met so many people in the last 2-ish years here that are just freaking awesome people, and people that I've gigged with, people that I've just been friends with, people that have helped me with my band's recording processes. So yeah, it's just be a friendly face.
Good advice. I'd say, don't be afraid to be adventurous with your music. I mean, try new things, and if you're getting some negative feedback, but you think it's really awesome and cool, and that's what you want to do, then fucking do it. Don't let the naysayers or the haters define what you want to do with your music.
Very
Also,
solid.
I got one more thing to throw in there. Something my guitar teacher told me was, an hour on the stage is worth a dozen hours in your room practicing. So get out there and play as much as you can, because it really is true. You learn a lot more on a stage than you do just practicing on your own. It feels so different.
Agreed.
Mhm.
Stage presence and experience is only learned one way. And that's getting out there and getting on that stage.
Absolutely. So that actually leads me right into my next question. And some musicians, they don't like talking about it, but now that you guys are seasoned, what's it like for you before you walk onto that stage?
I mean, a whole hell of a lot more relaxed than it was the first couple times. I mean, yeah, the more you do it, the more it feels like home, right? It's, every now and again, depending on the stage and the crowd, you're still going to get some jitters. But once you start playing a few notes and start belting some shit out, all that seems to go away, at least for me. Yeah, you can be feeling any kind of which way before the show, but once you start playing, it kind of all melts away.
When you're starting, I think everyone feels nervous. Especially in your first however many shows. But I mean, I certainly did. But that being said, now I don't feel nervous. I feel excited. Quite frankly, I crave playing shows because it's just so much fun. It's consistently a good time, even if you're playing a shitty show with no one there, but your friends that are obligated and your parents. It's still fun. It's still fun to do it. So I'd say that's something that that you learn to embrace, and it's just fun. It's so much fun. Everything about it's fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of gonna shadow or echo whatever Dave and Eric were saying there. But like, I guess when I first started out, first few shows, you're kind of like, I hope I don't fuck up, or whatever. And now it's like I'm just ready to go kick some ass. I'm like, I'm feeling pretty down, pretty ready. I'm almost like more worried about my pedal board or something, like having a patch cable or something come loose, or like I'm more thinking about that more than like screwing up performing or whatever, So it's
so not so much of a nerve thing.
No, it's an overthinking thing for sure. But
what amount of money am I gonna have to spend after this show to fix whatever fuck up is gonna happen?
I should play wearing boots too, and I got like size 14, so it's like every time I hit a pedal, it just like moves it, and I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't like screw up a patch cable.
So you got gorilla feet and gorilla hands.
Oh my god, I'm just a fucking gorilla, man. Like, like even when I do push-ups, I've broken my wrists a couple of times skateboarding, and so I have to do like on the fist push-ups. So I look even more like a gorilla, like when I'm working out.
Oh, definitely gorilla all the way there then.
Yeah, pretty much.
So one question that kind of stumps some people I've talked to, and some can't even think of how to come up with words to actually answer it, but walk us through what it's like to be pure entry in the course of a year from the backside all the way to the front.
Oh, so what do you mean, like just from
how, like, don't give away obviously your trademark secrets or whatever, right? Because every musician has buddies in certain places that create certain opportunities, right? Don't do that.
Right.
But in the end of like when at the beginning of the year, when an artist is looking at it going, okay, what are we going to accomplish this year for our goals and our aspirations for this band? What do you do throughout that year to make sure those happen?
Interesting.
Honestly, don't think we're kind of that band that's like sitting down and setting goals. Like we kind of said before, we're kind of just rolling with it. I mean, when Pure Entry started, it was me and Alex, and I had just picked up an electric guitar again. I had spent the decade before that just playing acoustic and writing my own acoustic music. So it was just like relearning how to write music from that standpoint again, and kind of just started writing songs, and it all just kind of came together. And if we're talking about like what we plan inside of a year, I mean, this year, if we're talking 2025, it's to play as many shows as we can in probably the first half of the year, because we're kind of just funding our EP that way, and to get that EP out there. Beyond that, I mean, we're not really making and setting goals. We're just kind of rolling with the punches and trying to have fun, make sure that we can put on a solid show for the people that do come out. We want to make sure that we're one of those bands that when you see us, you'll remember us. You're not going to feel like, oh, those guys shouldn't have fucking been up there. We definitely want to still sound like we're well rehearsed. We want our songs to, stick with the audience and hopefully, inspire some other people along the way.
Eric, Mike, anything to add?
Yeah, like I find that a really hard one to answer. I haven't even been with these guys for a year yet. I don't know what a year for Pure Entry looks like yet. I hardly even know what a year in the music scene looks like. This is like year 2 for me of doing this. So obviously their answers would be a little different than mine, because they've both got at least a decade on me. I think Mike's exactly 10 years older than me.
He likes to rub that.
He likes to make us feel old all the time.
No, it's my job with this pretty baby face. But yeah, that's a tough one. Like I'd say we have a goal to play X amount of shows in a year, which I think we're going to pass it by June this year. And that's absolutely great. But yeah, kind of what Dave said, like we don't necessarily have any.
Yeah, we don't really sit down and talk about setting goals. I mean, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing to do. And it's maybe something we're going to, work towards doing. But for where we are right now, I think setting goals, and I don't know, it maybe will take just a little bit of the fun out of it. And, like I said, we don't take ourselves too serious. We take ourselves seriously, but like we find that nice middle ground where
stay in the gray area.
I'll put it this way. We will take every opportunity we can, and we are grateful for every opportunity that presents itself to us. We love playing. That's why we're here, right? That's why anyone does this, because love making music. But that being said, I wouldn't say that we are specifically looking for anything specific, really, besides just playing our music, writing our songs, and putting out some songs if we can.
Like that would be our 2 plans: is playing shows and recording our new EP. Those.
Yeah.
Beyond that, who knows? It's a mystery.
Yeah. Actually, that's going back to what you were asking about advice. That's something that I'd say to fresh bands who've never done it before is, have a sense of direction on where you want to go, but don't hang on too tight to your set goals to get you there. Because
if something doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
No, you just adapt and improvise, right? You find another way to achieve what you're looking to do.
Yeah, like on a personal level, there's some things that I, as a musician, I would have liked to have done already, but that doesn't really matter, because there's a whole hell of a lot more that I've got to do just from being along for the ride that I didn't even think that I'd be able to do. So
yeah. You might have to have us on your podcast next year at this time, and then you can ask us.
And we can tell you.
Yeah. So you remember 12 months ago.
You know what, Jeff? We started setting goals, and here we go.
I might be able to actually answer that question next time. I've only been in the band for I don't know, maybe 4 months at this point. So
4 months.
Yeah, November.
November.
Yeah. It's about a little over 3 months. Yeah.
So for you guys, how long does it take from the start when Dave first starts kind of playing with his riffs and, doing stuff like that? How long does it normally take you guys to put a song together?
We've written a song in a night before, like start to finish.
Nice.
But there's some songs that, that we've tried jamming, at least since I've joined the band, that we're still like working on and don't really know what to do with them and still figuring them out. So it can be literally anything. Like Dave said, could be one night, could be 5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
We had to narrow it down
for
like most of the songs we have, and we have like in our set list and stuff like that we've written maybe since you guys have joined and maybe just shortly before. Yeah, and like on average would probably be, let's say, a few weeks before I come with something that we turn into front to back a fairly solid song before we're ready to actually play it live. Usually a few weeks to a month. We pull that off, and as long as there's a solid song to be worked with there. But every now and again there's the one that's half a song that we can't figure the rest of it out. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you guys have any plans for a full course album in the future?
It'd be nice. That'd be really sweet.
It's
We definitely kicked around the idea, even with what we have now. Like, we have definitely more than an album's worth of material of new music. It's just a matter of, the cost of recording. And a lot of people just seem to be going EPs nowadays. And I don't hate that idea. I mean, a lot of people's attention spans don't want to sit through a fucking album anymore. But I think that,
one of them.
what's that?
I said I'm kind of one of them. If I listen, it's either singles or EPs, right? Where it's because in that, you think the longest drive you're going to take for someone like me, maybe it's going to be Winnipeg, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to listen to the same band for any more than, like 15, 20 minutes on that drive, because you keep hearing the same band over and over. Well, eventually it's kind of, I got to shut them off for a little while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a few albums out there that I'll listen to front to back. But I mean, yeah, if I'm driving around, it's usually Bluetooth from the phone or whatever, put it on shuffle, and you're listening to a whole bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
But I think down the road, we'll put it on LP at some point. It's just a matter of when, and that I really couldn't fucking say.
Yeah.
I'd say it's not the material. It's more so funding the thing.
Yeah,
it's expensive to record. It's expensive to distribute.
We ain't got the bucks.
We ain't got the bucks.
And that's
also,
another
you gotta find the timing to put it out too, right? So,
well, that and behind the scenes of music, people don't understand how much money goes into that.
Yeah,
Like, a lot of money that, we have an old blues bassist out in our area, and he always says all the time that it's basically, if you're a musician and married, you're fucked. And we always used to ask him all the time on well, what do you mean? And he's like, the money that is spent in the music, he's like, you're already 3/4 broken. If you're married, the wife takes the other quarter anyway for everything else. So, and then you make $100 after just spending $2,000, you're fucked.
oh man, I always find it really funny, just how much goes in, how much money and stuff goes into gear and music and writing and all that stuff, and it's then you just go make a couple $100 at a gig. I don't know. I just find that pretty funny, but it's all for the love, right? It's
exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta love what you do. So then I got a harder, well, I shouldn't say a harder question, but it is always hard to kind of look through your catalog and answer this question. So if you could recommend one song out of everything you've released for someone to listen to that is going to turn them incredibly pure entry, they're the best band in the world, what song is it?
I'd say Peel Me Out. I'd say it's pretty catchy. It's a little bit heavier. It's pretty riffy. I would say that one song, at least the ones that have been released.
From what's been released, I know Joel would tell you this too. The answer is Slipping Slowly.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
I love that. That's a great song.
I appreciate it.
Fuck. I don't know.
It's like trying to pick which one's your favorite kid,
It's a hard question to answer, really.
There's an answer, you just don't want to say it.
Yeah, I mean, out of what we've released, it's definitely probably a tie between Peel Me Out and Slipping Slowly for me.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, I'm not going to. It's tie. Okay. I'm going to give you a tie on that one.
So, what? Sorry, I'm trying to think of my words here. What kind of aspects are you looking at, like, for future performances? Like, are you adding anything else to your shows? Like added lighting?
We got lots of lights.
Oh yeah, Alex is a light junkie.
Alex is always adding lighting.
I really wish
smoke
I wish
machine,
Alex was
machine.
here right now, honestly, like on this podcast to explain.
Oh, he would be jumping around answering this question right now. He is a showman through and through. He likes wearing the fucking flashy outfits,
the leather pants.
Say how much lights do you need? Alex in his glitter red pants, just throw him up there. He's good to go.
I know.
Yeah.
There's that, and put a mirror in front of him, and he'll reflect onto the crowd. But yeah, no, he's always buying new gadgets for our stage show and shit like that. Performance-wise, if we're not just talking lighting and stuff like that, I mean, we're still always trying to improve on that, trying to engage more, trying to, just have more fun up there visibly, to just kind of get everyone into it. And I mean, I think we're, every show we're getting a little better. So.
I love if we got some wireless rigs so we could kind of like run around stage a little bit more, kind of jump off. Eric's already on that train. He's already got his wireless bass kit there. So
no, not for the bass. I have in-ear monitor.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I like it. I'm not spending the money on that quite yet.
Yeah, I know. That's like, and again too, I say that I'll like, I'd love to like jump down and go play solos, but it's like also a fear thing I got to get over too. So
yeah.
So you got to make sure
it's hard for both of us, Mike. We're kind of glued to our pedal boards too, though. It's but
yeah.
I still want to get a wireless rig at some point as well. It's just cables can be a pain in the ass.
It'd be fun. Like I like switching side. Like I like playing on Eric's side of the stage and go back to my side of the stage. I kind of like screwing around with that.
Even more than moving around, I'd like a wireless so it doesn't matter where my pedal board is in relation to my amp.
Yeah, too. Yeah, that's a good call.
But I mean, it'd be really nice to have wireless on both ends, but that's twice as expensive.
I'd like just to strap my whole pedal board, honestly, and just rock around straight into the amp and straight into
pedal board backpack. Is that a thing? Why haven't they made that a thing yet?
Yeah.
Get it like an accordion where it just hangs off a strap around your neck that you can just slap what you need.
Yeah.
Totally. That'd be killer.
How many times did you press the wrong effect though? Fuck.
Oh,
right.
Well, I love there's some guitars, like there's this Fender that I tried at Lon McQuaid a little while ago, and it had actually a built-in fuzz pedal. Like it was like instant smashing, like Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins, like just at a flick of a switch. So like, man, that'd be sweet to have like some effects built into your guitar like that, like certain drive effects, or even like a tremolo, like or something like that, just something.
No, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be kind of neat.
Wireless wise, like if you guys are looking, we use like the Boss WL series
for
wireless system, and it is absolutely incredible. We have the Outlaw powered pedal boards.
Oh yeah.
You can just kind of slip it up near the mic stand, and we could dance around. We can do what we need to do.
Sweet.
Move over to our pedal board, stomp what we need, and then just keep going. Right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty cost effective setup for us. So I mean, it might be something that you guys can look into, and it might fit within your budget or something when you're looking to do it.
Boss stuff. I'm a Boss fan. They make good stuff for like an industry standard price on everything. Like they aren't. I find that they aren't gouging you too hard unless you go to the Wazacraft stuff. But then that's for real players.
That's for the lawyer players out there. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for the lawyers and dentists.
Man, that's every time I play my Les Paul, that's how I feel. Now I got a haircut to match, So
at least you don't have a PRS yet.
Oh, not yet. Maybe one day. PRS private stock. That'd be pretty sweet.
Those are crazy expensive.
Oh, I know.
You'll need another job to pay for that one, I think.
Okay. I know. I'll need a third or a fourth job, I think, just for that payment alone.
Right? Isn't that why we overwork ourselves as musicians? Is because we got to pay for our shit in the background,
This is true.
There's just
Yep.
too much cool shit going around these days.
right?
Oh, so much cool shit. Well, Dave, you just got a new amp and some new gear recently, eh?
Yeah, I had like no pedals a year ago, and now I've got a little pedal board, my new Fender Pro Reverb, and they sound so good. I mean, there's so much money, but fuck, is it worth it?
Well, that's just it. You get what you pay for, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that Fender Pro Reverb, like I had a Trainer amp before, which I love the Canadian made shit. That's why my guitars are not just why my guitars are Godin. I love Godin guitars. They're just, I feel like they're such nice, high quality made guitars, and you don't always have to pay for that, Gibson or Fender stamp on it. So I tried when I got this the like orange Strat Godin here. It was even like a little out of what I wanted to spend for another guitar. And I went and looked at some Fender Strats, some of the lower Fender Strats, and even the higher up like Squire Strats, but nothing was really just tickling my fancy there. And they didn't have this one in a store anywhere, so I had to order it. But when I ordered it and played it, like, it was fucking night and day difference. I will advocate this thing over a Fender Strat any day of the week. It's fucking awesome.
Nice. Well, I've heard good things about Godin. I've never actually personally played one, so I can't really speak to playability wise or anything, but I've heard nothing but
Take my
good.
word for it, man. They're good. They're good guitars.
I'll have to check one out when I'm in the city next weekend. Because, yeah, you guys are playing with, as you had said, Valley Narrow and stuff next weekend.
Yeah.
Then you did your complete lineup of shows and stuff you got coming up, including a little snippet of the one you can't announce yet. And then
One in April we can't announce, and then a summer festival that we can't announce yet. But stay tuned. If you have us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, all that shit, we'll make sure to announce some stuff in the hopefully coming weeks.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
yeah, comment and subscribe. Exactly. Yeah.
Grab the newsletter.
Yeah.
So before we kind of wrap it up, do you guys want to kind of list off some places where people can find your music, where they can find you across your socials, stuff like that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, Pure Entry, Facebook, Instagram. Instagram is just, at pure.entry. We keep pretty active on those two platforms to, guide you towards any of our shows when we're releasing new content, new material. We're on YouTube. I'm trying to post a little more to our YouTube channel now and grow that a little bit. So if you can get out there and subscribe to that, that'd be awesome. Our music is any streaming platform like, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, anywhere you can get music streaming from, we're there. Right now, like I said, we got that debut EP we put out in 2023, or was that 2024?
2024.
Yeah. Okay, 2024, and we're working on a new one, so hopefully we'll have something new for you in the next coming months. A single at the very least. And yeah, like, comment, and subscribe.
Is there anything either one of you, Eric or Mike, want to add?
We're good. Got that covered. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we still have some physical debut EPs. You'd see them laid out at our shows. Besides that, Dave's got us covered. We're good to go.
And we will have some new merch coming soon as well. Maybe not this gig coming up, but we have been actively searching out, it seems like it's been taking a while to get quotes back from some certain companies, but we're looking at, getting shirts, hoodies, toques, hats, and shit like that made for some Pure Entry merch you can wear and rock around, and hopefully it's nice and comfy and cozy.
Well, I'll take a toque or a hoodie.
Absolutely.
When you get them. You guys are going to have those EPs at the show next weekend?
We'll be sure to bring some.
We have a few physical copies left. I don't know. Honestly, Alex would have been the guy to ask about that. But yeah, we have some stuff. We'll have some CDs. I think we have like some stickers and buttons and those key bottle openers and stuff like that. So just a little low end stuff. But yeah, the more wearable merchandise is coming down the road in a little bit.
Okay, well, definitely make sure to have one of those EPs at the show for me.
Absolutely.
Because yeah, I'll pick one up while I'm there.
Sick.
And then, is there anything else you want to add to anybody that's going to be watching?
We're good.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much covered that and
If
more.
you checked out our music, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, hopefully we see anyone listening at some future shows. You know,
Come say hi.
Yeah, hopefully you can guess that song that we're leaving out there. Let's see. Leave it in the comments below.
There you go. Leave it in the comments below. Yeah, we'll get
I'm in my YouTuber era now.
And
right on.
Dave, if you can send me just kind of your YouTube tag or whatever, then I can make sure that your Pure Entry's tagged in this. So then they kind of have that flip over. If they're like,
Okay.
oh, these guys are awesome, I want to check out more of their stuff, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on, and
Thanks for having us.
I'll make
Yes,
sure you
thanks
guys.
for having us. It was a blast. Loved the questions and the whole kind of vibe behind this interview. I love it. It's awesome.
Appreciate it.
I'm kind of kicking myself because there's so much more I could have added now looking back on the questions, but
Well, out of way, man. That's what we're here
no,
for.
it's all good. It's all good.